Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be taking a look at a champion that we're all gonna get or already have, since this video might be a little bit late, and that of course is none other than Cheeilth. She's a Kabam original character that's not only made for beating up big buff green dudes, but also for dealing a lot of bleed damage and also for having a lot of utility. She's definitely not the most used champion in the game, even though she is really good, but because we're all gonna be getting her for free, she might be the most used Nah, I'm just kidding. She is good, but I don't think she's a must-have at all. But before we get too much into that, let's actually go over all of her abilities first, and then later on discuss why you should play her.
I'm trying to cook some food. Why ain't recommending me Diddy? God, it presents to you the downfall of Diddy. Bro, I'm over here trying to cook some meat and they showing me the meat master.
When she's fighting against #gamma opponents, her personal debuffs gain 40% potency, and she'll also gain additional effects for specific synergies that she has. As an attacker, her personal debuffs gain 30% duration, and as a defender, her personal debuffs can be inflicted through the block. As for her spirit charges, which the maximum of these that you can have is 10, she gains one of these charges every 20 seconds if she's an attacker, and as a defender, she gains one every 10 seconds. Whenever the timer expires, as well as every start of each fight, her blue bird will then grant her 2 indefinite cleanse passives, which the max of these is 10. She also gains a certain amount of critical damage rating, as well as 15% bleed potency per charge that she has. But moving on to her blocking ability. While she's blocking an opponent's attack, their attack rating will be capped at 100% of what it was at the start of the fight, and her well-timed blocks will reduce the attack rating by 50%. Each well-timed block will also shorten the timer by 5 seconds, so it is important to be parrying a lot. As for her attacking ability, her bleed debuffs deal a certain amount of direct damage over 9 seconds. When she strikes the opponent with an axe attack, she inflicts a bleed debuff on them, and whenever she punishes the opponent's heavy attack or special attacks, she will then pause the timer by 7 seconds. As for her heavy attacks, whenever she punishes the opponent's heavy attack or special attack with her heavy attack, she will pause all of her personal debuffs on the opponent for 5 seconds, and the final hit of her heavy attack will trigger 2 additional bleed debuffs. But moving on to her special attacks, the special one. On activation, she gains a Grizzly's Grit passive for 16 seconds, which allows her to treat unstoppable opponents as if they're not unstoppable, and while this passive is active, all of her attacks will gain a 50% chance to inflict a bleed debuff on the opponent. The Special 2. The final hit inflicts a tranquilized debuff lasting for 12 seconds, which decreases defensive ability accuracy, and while this debuff is active, she'll be unable to miss, and whenever a debuff or miss is prevented, she will then pause this debuff for 3 seconds. And last but not least, the Special 3. The attack can only be used once per fight, grants her an indefinite 35% vicious passive, which increases the potency of her damaging debuffs, and it grants her a 15-second regeneration buff, which heals 50% health that she's lost in the fight, or 30% of her missing health. As for her awakened ability, each time the opponent is immune to a bleed effect, she will then be granted a precision buff with a certain amount of potency, which lasts for 10 seconds, and if she has one of these active, she'll then be able to crit through the block. She'll also be able to heal a certain amount of physical damage, which is weird, but I guess I'll take it. But that is pretty much it for all of her abilities. A very unique kit with a lot of new things that she brings to the table, and in those unique scenarios is a very strong champion. But anyways, on to her attire in I see the drip, I see the animations, but isn't she just Nightwolf from Mortal Kombat? The dude summons spirits and she does the same, so Copyright issues aside though, this drip is actually pretty clean. Just like with Kushala, it sort of has its traditional influences, especially with the chest, the color scheme, the design as a whole, and I don't think I have any problems with it. She also has a knife at the back too, and a big ol' axe that reminds me of Assassin's Creed 3, and the fact that she uses that kind of explains why she's so buff. I absolutely love the fact that she wears the bear as a sort of suit, like a Susano or something. Even though the special one itself doesn't really do too much, it still has a lot of cool factor to it. The only problem with her design that I can find is maybe the hair, the way it's just pointing out like that, and the fact that it's going through the axe too, ish. But other than that, I think her design is pretty great. Definitely gonna be giving this a 7 or 7.5 out of 10. But anyways, on to the topic of why you should play her. And for this, it's pretty simple. You're literally getting her for free as a 7 star. I don't know what changed at Kabam lately, but the fact that they gave us a 7-star Guardian and now a 7-star Chee'ilth, bro, there's pretty much 3 reasons why you should play Chee'ilth even if you don't have her as a 7-star. First is the damage, second is the utility, and third, she's a stand user except here it's with animals. When it comes to damage, Chee'ilth's damage is kind of abnormal to be honest. Her main source of damage isn't her special attacks. In fact, the only special that's worth really going for is the special 3, since it gives you a vicious passive meaning you deal more bleed damage overall. But as for the special 1 and the special 2, you'd pretty much be losing a lot of damage when compared to just throwing heavy attacks. And even though her heavy attack does take a while to land, the opponents still melt fast, and I'm pretty sure you can see by the gameplay in the back, the numbers are pretty crazy. Speaking of gameplay in the back, I do want to give a shout out to my boy Cyanogen for not only providing us with some rank 3 gameplay, but the second reason you'll have to see in the next video. When it comes to her utility, it's very weird but also very good. Her kit has a lot of new mechanics like healing from physical damage, capping the opponent's attack rating to 100% when she's blocking, and also healing even though she's a skill champion, which those are definitely some abilities that can help you in a lot of matchups, but they aren't as common as other things that we've seen. Other than those, she does have access to cleanse passives, which can be really good especially in a debuff heavy match. She also has Tranquilize, which I don't really find too useful, especially since it's only 50%, but maybe someone can let me know down in the comments why this might be a big deal. She also does have the Grit passive, which allows her to bypass Unstoppable, but the duration of it is not really the best. Still, the fact that she can do all these things makes her absolutely incredible. But if none of those things have sold you so far, she's a dumb. And that is pretty much it for Chee'ilth, a champion that deals a lot of damage in the form of bleed, with some insane utility and some animations that just feel right. Let me know down in the comments if you're gonna be taking her to rank 2 or rank 3. Make sure to join my Discord group, the link will be down in the description. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!